9 people, including children, shot in the middle of the day at a Denver park. Police now looking for the shooter.
From a community standpoint, this is unacceptable.
A massive brawl at a Back the Blue rally in Fort Collins.
Keep punching each other in the face.
The new video that's getting a lot of attention online and how police are responding.
And Denver7 viewers show their support for a family that needed a little extra help getting home.
Here it comes. What color is that, sissy? It's blue.
A Sunday afternoon gathering comes to an abrupt end when someone started shooting into the crowd. Chairs tossed over, food left behind, and now it's an active crime scene.
Police say a total of 9 people, including young children, were shot in a possible drive-by at a park near West Alameda and I-25. Now police are desperately looking for witnesses to find the shooter. Thank you for joining us tonight. I'm JACLYN Allen.
And I'm Gary Brode. We want to get right to Denver7's Ivan Rodriguez, who's live at the scene. Ivan, police did say that all of the victims are expected to survive.
Gary, JACLYN, good evening. Police have been on scene now here for several hours, and the residential streets near Alameda and Pecos remain taped off and quiet. Around 4:30 this afternoon, what started as a large gathering between family and friends ended in panic.
The Denver Police Department received multiple calls from parties saying that there were shots being fired.
9 people were shot near the corner of Alameda and Pecos. 6 of them were rushed to the hospital and 3 others arrived later.
We have a multitude of ages that we're considering victims in this, including what we're calling young victims.
Police say all 9 people will be okay. Still, it's a shooting that's left neighbors in the area in shock. Denver police say aside from those 9 people who were shot, another person was injured when trying to run away from the shooting after being hit by a car. Those injuries, they say, are minor. Anyone with information is asked to contact police. Live in Denver, Ivan Rodriguez, Denver7.
Oh my God! We have this new video tonight at 10. It's getting national attention. A massive fight breaks out during a Back the Blue rally in Fort Collins. This video was taken yesterday, and you can see pro-police protesters trying to push counter-protesters out of a Fort Collins neighborhood. Now, it's still unclear exactly how that fight broke out, but fists were flying on both sides. Now, police want to find everyone in the video to try to figure out exactly what happened.
It's important to note that there were active aggressors on both sides. No matter what side you're on any issue, acts of violence doesn't further your cause or make our community any safer.
Fort Collins police did show up shortly after that fight started. 3 people were arrested on scene on both sides for disorderly conduct, and 1 other person was cited.
A bizarre story out of Denver today. That giant hole you see through the top of that home was caused by an air compressor that ruptured in a nearby home and then flew through the air, landing right through the house on South Fox Street. Thankfully, no one in the home was injured. Police are still working to figure out what caused the 100-gallon tank to rupture in the first place.
Another steady day for COVID-19 cases here in Colorado. We are actually below the average. 400 new cases we've been seeing for the past couple of weeks. Today, we only added 336. There have now been more than 50,000 confirmed cases in our state since the pandemic began. And here's a look at where our hospital beds are at right now. There are currently 337 beds being used by COVID-19 patients. That number has also been steadily going down. But Colorado is in urgent need of blood donors to help COVID-19 patients. That's according to Vitalant. Now, if you donate blood, Vitalant will test that for antibodies. They will then let you know if you can make a convalescent plasma donation to help coronavirus patients here in Colorado. You can find out how and where to donate on Vitalant's website.
A lab in Boulder is working on a new antiviral drug that will allow researchers to identify viruses faster, allowing for a quicker response to viruses like COVID. The Starzl Research Institute says work on the new drug is moving along at a rapid pace.
The way this works is it would be applied as a topical to your nasal passage and to your throat. And this would essentially create a layer of protective antibodies that when new viruses inhaled through, we're primarily concerned about respiratory transmission, they would become sequestered by those antibodies.
The Institute says work on the new drug will continue while researchers around the world continue their work on developing a COVID-19 vaccine.
It is the picture that's gone viral. A packed high school in Georgia with students packed in hallways and with very few of them wearing masks. Today, parents received an email from North Paulding High School saying it will keep school doors shut for at least the next 2 days after 6 students and 3 staff members tested positive for COVID-19. A couple of students were actually suspended for posting those now viral pictures, but after backlash, the school did rescind those suspensions. All students will be allowed back on campus after it gets a deep clean. We want to quickly get to breaking news right now. The Garfield County Sheriff has just tweeted out that evacuation orders are now in place for the Pine Gulch fire.
People living along County Road 204 are being told to get out. These are the first evacuation orders for this fire, which sparked back on July 31st.
You can barely see the mountains. I started noticing it yesterday. There was a smell in the air, and then this morning it was really prevalent.
Those high temperatures aren't helping firefighters whatsoever, who only have it about 7% contained at this point. At last update, the fire was burning more than 23,000 acres.
All right, RTD's new accountability committee will hold its first meeting tomorrow. The 11-member team will conduct a top-to-bottom review of RTD. This after a driver shortage and budget cuts because of the pandemic. Meanwhile, RTD is using new spray bottles to clean its buses and trains. RTD says this technology disinfects faster. Workers can sanitize a bus or a train in just 5 minutes.
Some football players for CSU say allegations of racism and verbal abuse within the program are simply not true. Players released a statement on social media this weekend denying the claims after the school decided to suspend all team activities on Friday until an investigation is complete. The Coloradoan also reported last week that coaches and staff were covering up COVID-19 cases among the team. But players who spoke to Denver7 say those claims also not true. The allegations come as the future of college football remains in limbo. Today, an emergency meeting was held with the Power 5 conferences, which represent some of the biggest teams in college football. ESPN is reporting sources from that meeting say the conferences are leaning towards no college football for the fall. But there is some good news in the sports world. Just a few hours ago, the NHL put out the schedule for the first round of the playoff games.
That's right. The Avs will kick off their quest for the Stanley Cup this Wednesday. They'll be taking on the Arizona Coyotes on Wednesday at 3:30 our time. So to help get hyped for those playoffs, the team hosted a playoff pom-pom drive through today at the Pepsi Center. Fans and their pups were able to get free pom-poms and wave to Bernie. Nick is in for sports for Lionel tonight, and he'll have more on the full Avs schedule coming up in Denver7 Sports.